Alone on the ice, a Glacier Bay survival story. Eli Travers wasn't a beginner. He'd kayaked through fjords in Norway, paddled the Amazon, even done solo overnights off the coast of British Columbia. But Glacier Bay, Alaska, had always been on his list. Late September, the tourists were gone. The water was glass. The silence was beautiful and a little eerie. His plan was simple. A 2-day paddle between the icy walls through fingers of broken glacier and Arctic blue water. He'd set up camp on the gravel shores and drift under the northern lights. The first day was perfect. Eli paddled between towering glacier cliffs, his red kayak a tiny blip in a cathedral of ice. Seals barked in the distance. Eagles circled overhead, and everything seemed to be perfect. But just before dusk, he heard a thunderous crack. He looked back and was stunned to see a massive chunk of the glacier, a wall the size of a city block, sheared off and splashed into the bay, sending a ripple toward his kayak. At first, he was a little nervous of how he would handle such a big wave coming his way. Eli cleared his head and made up his mind he was going to take this wave at an angle to avoid tipping his kayak. With some quick paddling and swift maneuvering, he rode the wave and was able to get behind it. When the water settled, he realized the icefall had sealed off the narrow channel behind him. A glacier shelf now blocked his exit. No big deal, he thought. He'd find another route out tomorrow. But that night, the cold hit harder than expected. He huddled in his bivy sack, listening to the deep creaks and groans of the ice. Around 3 a.m., he heard something strange, footsteps. On ice, slow, measured, crunching. He sat up. His flashlight beam bounced off white. Nothing. But the footsteps stopped the moment he moved. At dawn, fog rolled in thick. Eli packed quickly and pushed forward through a side passage. The ice grew denser. Sunlight barely filtered in. His GPS flickered. No signal. Compass spinning wildly. Then he saw it. A second kayak, flipped, half frozen in slush. No name, no paddle, just there. He shouted, waited. Nothing answered, except the distant echo of his own voice bouncing off the ice in a way that made it sound distorted. He moved on. Midday, he reached what looked like an exit, until he turned a corner and saw that it was a cul-de-sac of solid ice. Trap. As he turned to paddle back, he heard it again. Crunch, 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 crunch. Only this time it wasn't on ice. It was on the kayak. He spun, nearly tipping over. Nothing. Only a single wet handprint on the front of the boat. Fresh. Human. Panic surged. He paddled hard, faster than he ever had, eyes scanning for a way out. By dusk, his body was shaking from cold and exhaustion. Then, in the fading light, he saw it. A narrow meltwater channel leading downhill. A risk, but the only option. He paddled in. It worked. The current dragged him forward, fast. He dodged ice blocks, scraped a rock, and finally burst out into the main bay, heart hammering. He didn't stop until he saw the ranger station miles down the shoreline. When the rangers picked him up, they said he was lucky. 1 more hour and the tide would have turned that channel into a dead end. They asked if he'd seen anything strange. Eli paused, then just said, "There's a second kayak back there. Someone else didn't make it out." He never paddled Alaska again, and he never figured out where that wet handprint came from. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.